You know, it's interesting. I don't think we realize how much we actually are enslaved. Really, we are so enslaved and have not known it forever. Nonprofit hospitals make up the majority of the hospitals in the United States. They get the status nonprofit because they're considered a charitable organization. I don't think anybody right now would consider any of your hospitals, period, to be very charitable. But they get that title because when they're nonprofit, they don't have to pay any taxes, zero. They don't pay property tax, they don't pay state or federal taxes, and no sales tax. And the whole point of that is to give back to the community. Isn't that funny? Because they don't, right? What they do really is the CEOs and the shareholders, but basically the CEOs, they spend that money that they don't pay in taxes on private jets, billboard ads, skyboxes, offshore bank accounts, extravagant galas. What a surprise. So they get in bed and lobby in Washington with pharma and screw us all over. We have been paying more taxes all the time, and it is so much. It reminds me of a Bible study I went to years ago, and we were reading the book of Exodus. And over again, it would talk about how God was telling the Israelites to, stop doing this, stop doing that. These are the things he wanted to take them out of. He was taking them out of slavery to bring them into the promised land. And 18 miles in, they were tired. They were tired because it was uncomfortable. And God would tell them over and over again, don't worship false idols. And 5 minutes later, they're building a golden calf, and it would be over and over again. And I used to think to myself, reading, what is wrong with these people? What the hell is wrong with them? And God is telling you to stop doing that. Like, you should maybe listen to God. But then if you think about it, you turn that around on yourself, on all of us. It's kind of the same thing. Like, we stay in our own slaveries. So God will, had the book to, it's everything is in the Bible. It's the same repeating story. And yet then people want to get mad at God for trafficking and drug abuse and all this hell that we live in. Well, that's because we choose to stay in it. So, I think that at one point, and I could be wrong, but I thought that at one point God was just like, you know what, stay in your slave. I think that's why they spent so long in the wilderness, is because they just kept complaining, and God's just like, I'm out. Moses, it's yours. I don't know, but my point is that they did keep complaining, and yet God was taking them to a land of, wealth and prosperous land. But because they were uncomfortable and they didn't have their little rewards that they would get in their slavery, they didn't want to go. Some of them really wanted to go back. So if they're going to go back, they can't then blame God and say, well, look at everything that happened in my life, and there's trafficking, and there's drug abuse, and there's all these mean people, and this, and I'm depressed. You can't do that, because you have a book you're supposed to follow, the Bible, that tells us what to do, and that it means we have to weather some of the storm to get to, we have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And there's a lot of people that just won't be. They won't. They will stay in their prison. And that's what the system knows, is that there'll be people that'll stay in that prison. But for the brave that are willing to, weather the storm a little bit in the wilderness, they will find themselves in a land where you can prosper, and not this land that we're in right now. I'm not talking literally, but I mean it's literal, but not like we're going somewhere. But the wicked, the people that are your CEOs of the same people that are getting these, Northwestern was in the top 5 of this article. 10.6 million went to the top paid executive of Northwestern Healthcare in Chicago. What a surprise. But his organization, he talks about white privilege. What a hypocrite. the biggest hypocrite ever. Really, what a hypocrite. Eh, Talk about no, he's the one that has privilege. All these hospital CEOs do, while they're telling you you're racist. We have to move beyond this. I think most people have. I mean, they use this racist tactic all the time, and they're the racist. But we have to weather the storm here a little bit. And for those that can brave it and aren't just willing to stay in their comfortable spot, while really it's not going to be prosperous for you because these people don't have good intentions, but we have to weather it. We have to, find that strength within us and trust God. We have to put faith in that instead of money. And I think that if the more people that do that, that's where I think the change comes in, is putting faith. Because when you can step outside that box and say, I'm not doing this, and know what your limit is, what you're willing to say, I'm done, then you're stepping outside your box. And there's many, you're wicked, you're people that don't care about anybody else but themselves. They can all stay together. They need us. We don't need them. So they'll find out quickly they can't make it because they need to, they need somebody to do all their work for them and steal their money from them, and or hurt others because others get, feed off of that energy when they hurt somebody else. Like all those people, you put just those people in a society together, they won't be able to last very long. They need us. We don't need them. So people that want to have a better system, and I think we're heading in that direction, we're just in the wilderness right now. Just any small little step outside of your comfort zone and just letting yourself weather it a little bit, I think we'll find that we will create our own promised land. But like all things, we must weather the storms. And I don't think it'll be a long storm, but I think that we have to weather it a little bit, be uncomfortable. You're being pushed to change. Everybody is. And there's many people that won't change because they want to stay enslaved, and they're so afraid of hurt or pain that they're just weak. They don't want to try something different, and that's fine. It's fine for them. And the wicked, that's how they are. They will stay there. But the rest of us, we don't have to stay there. And I see more and more people saying, I'm not staying in this system anymore. It's time for something better. So let the wicked worship their golden calves, while the brave weather the storm.